This morning I got an email from a childhood friend, and he told me that his father had died a couple of months ago. And in telling me that, he expressed some of his feelings about his father, because they had always had a very difficult relationship. Actually, the father had a difficult relationship with all three kids. And it was, or I should say the kids had a difficult relationship with the father. But it was very sad for me to read about this, because although I knew of the difficulties, to hear how the bad influence was continuing to eat away at my friend after all these years. In other words, that he had not been able, and it seems like none of the kids had been able to come to some sense of peace about their father's personality and the way he fathered them. And it made me very sad on two accounts, you know. One was that for the sake of my friend, who all these years is, you know, it's hard for him to understand his father and have some compassion for his father, and holding on to that all these years is not pleasant. It makes your own mind bogged down and very unhappy. And then I was also thinking of his father, who is now dead, of course, but how it must have been so painful for him to have his kids feel that way about him, even though he himself probably could not understand why. You know, because from his side, he was probably doing what he thought good fathers did. You know, you put food on the table and you give the family a good standard of living, and you discipline the kids so they fit into society. And probably from his viewpoint, he can't understand why the kids feel that way about him. So this kind of thing that happens so often in families, doesn't it? And so often in relationships, makes me so sad, because it's all so unnecessary. You know, the whole thing is all caused by, you know, reifying people into solid, inherently existent personalities that never change, that are always that way, that are not conditioned by the culture and the historical period and their own family upbringing. You know, the grasping at true existence is so strong of who the other person is, who one else is, you know. And then also the lopsided way that the self-centered mind makes us look at things, you know, always looking at somebody's faults and at their adverse influence on us, and skipping over or just assuming the things that they did do for us, which in the eyes of the other person were important, you know, because, you know, I've known his family, and his family, like mine, you know, his parents were the first generation born in the US. They were trying to get the American dream. You know, from that perspective, it made sense, you know. From the perspective of a sensitive child who needed, you know, encouragement, the behavior didn't make any sense, you know. But, you know, I think it's so important in our practice to really work on forgiveness and work on developing some compassion for the other people in our life with whom we've had difficult relationships. And we do this not only for the other person's benefit, but especially for our own benefit, to lighten up our heart and to make it so that we can really open our heart to others. Because as long as we carry around, you know, this very deep hurt, you know, having impartial love and compassion for everybody is beyond what we can do, you know, with that mental state. And so bodhicitta is beyond us, you know. So I think that this kind of understanding and not reifying and concretizing other people, understanding their conditions, understanding our own conditions, having some empathy for ourselves, you know, and realizing that there is no perfect family and there are no perfect parents and there are no perfect kids. You know, we're all sitting here in samsara in our confusion together, trying to help each other as much as we can. And, you know, very often causing each other pain. But, you know, to come back to it, that you know, people, I think, do mean each other well, but they get awfully confused about how to show it and what it looks like and all these kinds of things. Okay, but to really try in our practice to work with this.